Mark's office door was already open. He was standing behind his desk, hands on the back of his chair like he'd been rehearsing this pose in the mirror. "Close the door, please," he said. I did, slowly, letting the click carry the weight it needed. "Take a seat." "No, thanks." His smile faltered, just slightly, like a hairline crack in porcelain. He circled to the front of the desk. "You've seen the Leadwell invoice, I assume." "I have." "And?" He cocked his head like this was a casual conversation. Like we were equals. "There's a $500,000 discrepancy." Not quite." He perched on the edge of the desk. "It's more like a rounding error. You know how these things go, systems, inputs, tedious stuff." I said nothing. He waited, then continued, softer now. "I brought you in because you're discreet, level-headed. You get things done. That's rare." "I didn't know that came with a gag order." Mark laughed, short and sharp. "No one's asking you to lie." I looked at him. He raised both hands. "Okay, maybe lie is too strong, but there's no need to fan the flames. These numbers won't matter in 6 months. Leadwell's closing the contract anyway. And our audit, it's internal, controlled." I took a slow breath. "You want me to sign off on it. I want you to be smart, strategic. This isn't your fight." That was the moment. The silence between his last word and my answer stretched, tight and humming like a live wire. I felt it settle inside me. That line, that turn. I spoke clearly. "It is now." Mark's face didn't move, but something in his eyes hardened. "You're making this personal." "No, you are." He stood. "Don't be dramatic, Claire. You know how the world works." "I do," I said, "and I'm tired of pretending otherwise." He came closer, stopping just in front of me. "You think you'll win this? Take this to compliance, legal. They'll bury it in red tape, spin you in circles, and call it a misunderstanding. And you'll lose your seat at the table. Fast." "I didn't ask to be at your table." He chuckled under his breath. "You think you're dangerous now. That's cute. I don't need to be dangerous, just accurate." Mark leaned in. "This is how careers end, Claire, or begin." We stared at each other. Then I turned and walked out. Sophie found me in the stairwell. I was gripping the railing, my fingers white. "You okay?" she asked. I didn't answer. She stepped closer. "What happened?" I said. "No." She blinked. "To what?" Mark asked me to sign off on the Leadwell numbers. Her mouth parted. "Shit. Yeah." She looked around, then lowered her voice. "What are you going to do?" I turned to face her fully. "Tell the truth, Claire. I'm done being careful." Sophie looked away, then back. "They'll come after you." "Then let them." A long silence passed. Then her voice softened. "You shouldn't be alone in this." "I'm not. Not if you back me." She hesitated. "You want me to." "I want you to be honest." "That's it." Sophie's hands fidgeted at her sides. "I flagged the Leadwell numbers last week," she whispered. "I sent an internal note. Mark saw it. Then it disappeared from the ledger history." I stared at her. "I didn't save a copy," she added. I was scared. "It's okay," I said quietly. "We'll find another way." That night, I went back into the office. The floor was quiet, the hum of the building settling around me like fog. I unlocked the compliance drawer in finance. Cold hands, steady breath. Ledgers, contracts, payment batches. I copied what I needed. Then I sat in my car, phone in hand, staring at the screen. Claire, Sophie said, picking up. You okay? I have everything. She was quiet a moment. You're really going through with it? Yes, she exhaled. Then I am too. The meeting with internal counsel was scheduled for the next day. Mark walked in 5 minutes late. I was already seated. Sophie next to me. The general counsel, Mr. Davison, adjusted his glasses and nodded at Mark. Glad you could join us. Mark smiled, happy to clarify this misunderstanding. Davison turned to me. Claire, would you begin? I placed the folder on the table. This contains financial reports from Q2, including invoices, email correspondence, and audit notes. Mark cut in, laughing. This is absurd. Claire, you'll get your turn, Davison said firmly. Mark's jaw twitched. I continued. The Ledwell invoice was altered. An original version shows a $500,000 surplus charged without services rendered. The final version was overwritten. I have metadata timestamps confirming this. Davison nodded. Continue. I gestured toward Sophie. Ms. Tran flagged this discrepancy last week. Her system notes were wiped. That's a serious allegation, Mark said. It's a verifiable fact. He turned to Sophie. You're backing this. She met his gaze. Yes. Mark leaned back in his chair. This is a witch hunt. No, Davison said calmly. This is due process. Mark looked at me then, really looked. I saw the shift, the calculation happening in real time. The narrowing of his ambition into something cold and cornered. You've made a mistake, he said quietly. Maybe, I said. But it's mine to make. The fallout was fast. 2 days later, Mark was placed on leave pending investigation. Whispers spread through the office like wildfire. I walked past his office empty. Door wide open this time. Sophie found me by the windows. They asked me for a statement, she said. What did you give them? Everything. We stood in silence, watching the sun creep down behind the skyline. Sophie nudged my arm. You scared the hell out of me, you know. Same. But you didn't blink. I smiled, faint. I did. Just not where they could see. She looked at me. What now? We keep going. She nodded. Together. Always. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The office lights buzzed low above me. 2:43 a.m. Screen glaring back. Sophie's voice crackled softly from my phone's speaker. You're still there. Yes. You need sleep. I need proof. She was quiet. Then, what are you seeing? I exhaled. The Altamore file. Look at this CC list. Eric Voss. Twice. To different aliases. Aliases? Eric Voss at ALTALINK net and Voss at Provision. Internal and external. Cross-client emails. That's Jesus. Exactly. It's not just Ledwell. He's nesting the accounts. Silence. Sophie. I'm here. He's routing misbills through side entities. It's deliberate. Claire. This means it's bigger than Mark. I know. Another pause. Do you want me to come in? No. Just stay on the line. I stared at the screen. The audit trail was fractured. Timestamps rewritten. Forwarded chains abruptly cut off mid-conversation. All leading back to Eric. I stood up. I'm going to his office. What? Claire. No. He's never plain-spoken. That means he's always hiding something. I want to hear what he sounds like when he's caught off guard. The executive floor was cold, still. I slipped my badge through. The lock clicked. Eric Voss's office was immaculate. A single photo frame, A steel pen set, untouched folders arranged in perpendicular stacks. I sat in his chair. I dialed his number. Claire, he answered, calm as always. To what do I owe the moonlit pleasure? You knew about Ledwell. I know about many things. You knew about the shell invoices, the silent subsidiaries. A soft chuckle. Did Mark finally crack? No. Mark sloppy. You aren't. He sighed. Then why call me? Because I want to hear you say it. Another pause. Then, say what? Exactly. That you built this. I build revenue streams. Compartmentalized. Efficient. So you admit it. I acknowledge smart architecture. What others do with it is a matter of compliance. Their compliance. He said nothing. I pressed. Eric, did you think no one would trace the threads? He didn't blink. Threads are only dangerous if someone tugs them. Most prefer comfort. I'm not most. No, he said, voice gentler. You're precise, curious, dangerous, if you want to be. I don't need your compliments. They're not compliments. They're observations. You don't want exposure. You want leverage. I want truth. He laughed, tired and unamused. Then you're still naive. I stood. You buried client overages under ghost projects. And what will you do? Tell Sophie. Legal. Mark. They'll eat each other before they touch me. I'll find another way. He chuckled. There's no way. I've already started. A silence. Then, careful, Claire. The line between clarity and ambition is thin. I hung up. Sophie met me in the supply room at 7 a.m., red-eyed, holding to coffees. You actually did it. He answered on the second ring. What did he say? Nothing direct. Everything clear. She handed me the coffee. So now what? We map it. Every linked invoice. Every fake client. Claire, this is Eric Voss. If we miss even one thread, then we don't miss. She studied me. You haven't slept. No. You sound different. I looked at her. Something shifted. Sophie sipped her coffee. You're not going to let this go, are you? No. Her eyes softened. Good. At 9:12 a.m., Eric walked into my cube. Ms. Hale, he said, to warm. May I? I stood. We already spoke. He nodded. Not face to face. He gestured toward the hallway. A minute. I followed him into the empty conference room. The door closed behind us. He turned. You're making noise. Truth tends to echo. And Sophie, she's with me. He smiled faintly. Then I underestimated you both. You did. He stepped closer. You're assuming I'm threatened. I'm assuming you're calculating. He nodded. Always. Then calculate this: what happens when compliance sees your internal threads? Which ones? The ones I recovered last night. Eric tilted his head. You're bluffing. I slid a flash drive onto the table. He didn't reach for it. Just stared. Your real name is on every misrouted invoice, I said. Your second email. Your red lines. All of it. He tapped the table lightly. You're good. I'm not playing. He looked up. You want something. Not silence. Then what? Freedom. He blinked. Explain. I want out. Clean record. Severance. References. He smiled. You're turning this into a negotiation. No. I'm ending a contract. He looked at me. Long and slow. You walk away now. You'll still see this place in your sleep. I already do. He nodded, just once. You'll have what you asked for. And Sophie? She stays. If she chooses. I stood. She chooses me. He said nothing. I left the room. Sophie met me by the elevators. You okay? No. You did it. Not yet. She handed me my flash drive. You forgot this. I looked at her. Do you still want out? She asked. I nodded. I do. Then I'll walk with you. The elevator doors opened. We stepped inside. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. I had 3 screens open. One for client chains. One for internal audits. One for the archive. The lights in the office had gone dim an hour ago. But I didn't move. Sophie's voice broke the silence. You're at it again. Breadcrumbs, I said without looking up. She came closer. How many? 47 so far. Misspelled hours. Duplicate task codes. And look at this. I tilted the screen. Same invoice ID used on to separate clients. Different amounts. Same date. She whistled. You documenting all of it. Every thread. Every timestamp. I'm naming them alphabetically. Mark won't see it coming. Sophie leaned in. Does he know you're still digging? He assumes I'm bluffing. She smiled faintly. He always does. I clicked open a forwarded email. This one's from Jess in Legal. Look at the CC field. Empty. Exactly. Her reply went to Eric and Mark only. But the original included 5 others. They're pruning visibility. She tensed. Strategic omissions. Every move has a fingerprint. You just have to want to see it. She sat beside me. Why do you think they haven't shut you down? Because they don't know how much I have. Sophie glanced around. Do you trust anyone? I trust patterns. And you? Not yourself. I looked at her. Especially myself. She nodded once. Okay, then let's keep going. Mark called me into his office the next morning. His voice was syrup again. Claire, he said, gesturing to the chair. I'll stand. He gave a tight smile. Suit yourself. I just wanted to check in. You've been working late. Lots to sort through. Yes, but let's be honest, none of it's really your responsibility anymore. I said nothing. He steepled his fingers. I've noticed some unusual access logs. You've been pulling old records. They're not that old. Still, you're not on the audit team. No, but I care about accuracy. He leaned back. Is this about closure? Or vengeance? Truth. He laughed softly. That's not a department here. I'm building one. Mark's eyes sharpened. You think Eric will protect you? I don't need protection. You're smarter than this. Then act like it. He stood abruptly. You don't know what you're doing. I held his stare. But you do. And that's what scares you. His jaw clenched. I've let a lot slide, Claire, because I respected you. No, you calculated me. There's a difference. Whatever story you're writing, no one will read it. Then you won't mind if I keep going. He moved closer. This ends badly for you. Only if I stop too soon. Back at my desk, Sophie was already waiting. What happened? He tried to remind me who's in charge. And I reminded him I don't care. She grinned. You're terrifying. I'm methodical. She held up a flash drive. Here. I pulled the off-site backups from our last compliance migration. I blinked. How? I borrowed Tom's credentials. He leaves his laptop unlocked when he microwaves oatmeal. You're incredible. She shrugged. I'm loyal. I plugged in the drive. We're looking for anything scrubbed from the shared servers, especially around Altamore. Ledwell, and Voss's alias accounts. She nodded. On it. We worked in silence for 30 minutes. Then Sophie leaned over. Found something. What? A deleted memo draft. From Eric. It was meant for internal use but never finalized. I scanned it. Buried inside. Reclassify. Client overages as vendor retainer offsets disperse quarterly. Jesus, I whispered. He normalized the laundering process. Sophie looked pale. And taught others how. We need more. By nightfall, the archive held 76 files. I zipped and encrypted the folder. Emailed a copy to a clean account under a name. No one would trace. Sophie shut her laptop. How long do we wait? Not long, I said. The last breadcrumbs already in his inbox. Carla watched me over her glasses. Her office was quiet, soft-edged. I kept my coat on. You haven't been here in 6 months, she said. I didn't think I needed it. And now I think I stopped feeling something important. A long time ago. She nodded. Want to tell me what that is? I think I stopped believing people were telling the truth when they said I was brilliant. Carla tilted her head. Why? Because it always came right after something else. A condition. You're brilliant but a little sharp. You're brilliant but don't alienate the team. Who said that last one? Mark. She leaned forward. And what did you say back? Nothing. I smiled. Why? Because it's what you do. You keep the peace. You nod, soften your voice, lower your eyes. Carla watched me. And now, I smiled. But it was different. Now I'd like to raise my voice. She nodded slowly. You think it'll make a difference? I don't care if it does. That night, I sat in front of my bathroom mirror. The house was too quiet. Every room like a held breath. I wiped off my makeup slowly, deliberately. The phone buzzed. Sophie, you okay? She asked. Define okay. Breathing. Barely. Want me to come over? No. I just needed to hear someone who hasn't lied to me. She hesitated. What happened? I went to see Carla. And I said things out loud I hadn't said in years. She was quiet. Then, like what? That I think I stopped being me a long time ago. Somewhere between Alex's cheating and Mark's promotions. You never stopped. You just went quiet. I laughed softly. Is that supposed to make me feel better? I don't know. But you were the only one who stayed sharp while the rest of us blurred out. I exhaled. You ever get tired of being polite? Constantly. You ever want to just flip a table? All the time. I smiled. Thank you. For what? For reminding me I'm not crazy. You're the sanest person I know. Just surrounded by masks. Alex called 2 days later. I let it ring 3 times before answering. Claire, he said. That voice I used to love. To warm. To careful. Why are you calling? I heard about work. Word travels. Especially when you're in bed with half the firm's board. He chuckled. You always were sharp. And you always mistook control for love. Still mad? No. I just finally ran out of room to make excuses for you. He sighed. I called to say I admire you. What you're doing standing up. No, Alex. You called because you want to be adjacent to the moment. You always needed to be near the heat without ever holding the flame. That's not fair. It's not a courtroom. He paused. You changed. No, I said. You just finally heard me without interruption. Click. Carla waited until the end of the next session to speak. You said something last week. About the mirror. I nodded. You said the reflection wasn't weak, but she was done waiting, right? She leaned forward. What is she waiting for? I blinked. Permission? To do what? To stop pretending that being calm makes you safe. And does it? No. It just makes people comfortable around you. Carla sat back. You're not angry. You're awake. I met her eyes. I'm both. I found an old recording on my drive. A meeting from 2 years ago. I pressed play. Claire, that's a bit aggressive, Mark had said. Let's soften the language. Me? It's accurate. Mark again. Right? But we want the client to feel like we're listening, not like we're pointing fingers. And then me, smiling, backpedaling, rewriting my own slide for the third time. I closed the laptop. My hands were shaking. Sophie called. I just sent you something, she said. What is it? Meeting notes from the Altamore planning call. 2 weeks ago. Before the invoice edits. I opened the file. They outlined the adjustment logic in plain text, she said. They never expected anyone outside the circle to see it. This is enough. It's time. Yes. Are you ready? I looked at my reflection in the darkened screen. My face was still. My eyes weren't. I'm not waiting anymore. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Sophie's shoulders were trembling when I found her. Hey, I said gently. She didn't turn. Just kept her eyes fixed on the concrete wall of the stairwell, breath hitching. They called me in, she said. I stepped closer. Who? Mark. And legal. To partners I've never met. They said my audit notes were excessively interpreted. My jaw clenched. They're pinning it on you. I tried to explain. I showed them my backup logs, my emails. But they said it looked like I had doctored something. That my metadata was inconsistent. Claire, they're rewriting the timeline. I pulled the flash drive from my coat pocket and pressed it into her hand. What's this? Just keep it safe. Her fingers closed around it. What is it? My line in the sand. She finally looked at me. Claire, I'm not letting them do this to you. Her voice cracked. I didn't even mean to find the discrepancy. I was just doing my job. I know. She wiped her face with her sleeve. Why does it always feel like we're the ones trespassing in their space, their game? Because we were taught to feel lucky just to be allowed in. She looked down at the drive. What's on here? Everything they're afraid of. Carla didn't even wait for me to sit. You're angry. Yes. And they went after her. She nodded once. That's your trigger. No. That's the line. Tell me what happened. They fabricated errors in her audit trail. She's spiraling. Crying in a stairwell like she broke the law when all she did was follow procedure. And you? I gave her the burner copy. Carla leaned forward. You just escalated. I needed to. Are you ready for what comes next? No, I said. But I'm not backing off either. That evening, my phone rang. Claire, it's Mark. I kept my voice level. Why are you calling? I just wanted to clear the air. I heard. Sophie was upset. You mean after you accused her of data fraud? That's not what happened. Then explain it to me. We're under pressure. Everyone's trying to find clarity. Emotions get misread. I laughed. That's rich. Look, this isn't personal. If she'd just acknowledged the error. There was no error. She overreached. She told the truth. Then she's naive. I let the silence stretch. Claire, he said, this could still go away. It won't. I'm trying to help you. No, I said. You're trying to contain me. He hesitated. You've changed. No. I just stopped absorbing damage to make you comfortable. Click. Sophie showed up at my door an hour later, holding the flash drive in one hand and a half-eaten granola bar in the other. I didn't know where else to go. Come in. She walked straight to the couch and collapsed. I couldn't sit in my apartment anymore. I kept thinking someone was watching. They're not. Yet. That's not reassuring. I know. She handed the drive back. I couldn't even look at it. You weren't supposed to. Just hold it. Claire, what happens if they come after you? They already are. She stared at me. And you're not scared. I'm furious. Sophie pulled her knees to her chest. I don't want to be part of this anymore. You don't have to be. But I am. I saw it. I flagged it. That's enough. It shouldn't be. I know. We sat in silence. She whispered, What if this ruins us? It already did. We're just exposing the rot. The next morning, I walked into the boardroom uninvited. Eric was mid-sentence. For partners turned toward me. Ms. Hale, he said smoothly. We weren't expecting you. Then you're not paying attention. Is this urgent? Yes. I placed a small envelope on the table. This is a list of files your compliance department should request from my burner drive. Contained within are over 90 documented inconsistencies, time-stamped, sourced, and archived externally. One of the women at the end shifted in her seat. Eric's tone darkened. Claire, you're out of line. Only because I stopped staying in yours. Are you threatening this firm? I'm saving it from collapse. He leaned back. You're bluffing. You know I'm not. Your job is not my leash. The room stilled. Eyes darted. No one breathed. I suggest, I said, turning to leave, you start reading. Back in my office, Sophie was pacing. You did it. Yes. And they didn't throw me out. That's something. Her voice was small. You shouldn't have to do this alone. I'm not. She looked at me, vulnerable and fierce. What happens now? Now. I smiled, sharp and certain. We wait for the masks to crack. The office was quiet when I walked in, just the thrum of machines and my heels against tile. I passed the printer and tapped the screen twice. It blinked red. Paper jam. Angela emerged from behind the IT station with a half smile. Back so soon? Printer hates me again. Maybe it knows you're planning something. I met her eyes. What do you mean? She leaned in. Claire, you're too precise to break a copier twice in 1 week. I lowered my voice. Can you trace if a machine accessed an external drive last Tuesday? Between 9 and 11 p.m.? She didn't blink. The drive you plugged in. You saw that. I see everything. I stepped closer. Did you report it? No. Why? Because I know a war face when I see one. You're not printing memos. You're sending signals. I nodded once. Can I count on you? Angela smiled. You just did. In the break room, I opened my laptop and logged into the alias. See vigil at protonmail.com. No signatures. No trace. Just a subject line. Unreviewed vendor records. Possible compliance irregularities. I attached a PDF. Redacted and numbered. No narrative. No accusations, just breadcrumbs. I hit send. Dana Grover called 3 hours later. Her voice was low, clipped. This is Dana. Ethics board. I kept mine even. Yes. You sent a file. I did. Are you willing to verify the chain? Not yet. I need more. I gave enough to start a clock. A pause. What are you trying to accomplish? Accountability. Or leverage. Same thing in here. You realize this triggers a tier to review. I'm counting on it. I'll need your real name. You already know it. She sighed. Then you should also know I don't play games. I'm not asking you to. You're asking me to light a fuse. No, I said. I'm handing you the match. Later, I found Sophie at her desk, scrolling through emails. You okay? I asked. They're quiet. Good or bad? Bad. To quiet. I sat beside her. I sent the file. To who? Ethics board. Her eyes widened. Are you serious? Yes. You think they'll act. I think they'll look. And someone will flinch. She stared at me. Do I need to run? No. But be ready to pivot. Sophie nodded slowly. You really did it. I leaned in. I'm not hoping anymore, Sophie. I'm documenting. That's the difference. Angela passed my desk 2 hours later, slid a sticky note into my palm. Dana, accessed the firm's VPN log history. 12 minutes ago. You're not invisible anymore. I burned the note in the kitchenette sink. At 5:17 p.m., Dana emailed me directly. Subject. Follow-up message. I want to speak. Neutral location. You choose. I typed back one line. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. Sidewalk Cafe. On 9th. Gray coat. Send. Delete. Log out. The wind cut sharp the next morning. Dana was already there, sipping something from a paper cup. You're punctual, I said. I don't waste time. I sat. What did you see? Enough to call in a silent audit. I kept my face neutral. You're exposing high-level patterns. Not just one name. I know. Why now? Because they went after someone who couldn't fight back. She looked at me closely. Are you clean? Yes. She sipped her drink. And your source? No one you can subpoena. Dana smiled. You're careful. Always. Good. Because if this spirals, you'll need more than truth. I stood. Then you'd better start reading faster. She nodded once. Watch your inbox. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The concrete of the parking garage echoed with each step. I saw him before he spoke, leaning against my car like he belonged there. Claire, Mark said, low. Got a minute? No, I replied. But I didn't stop. He pushed off the hood. I think you do. I opened my door. He blocked it. I looked at him. Move. We both know what you did. Clarify. You sent files to the ethics board. You threw the firm into a firestorm. No, Mark. I showed them the matchbox. The flame was yours. His voice hardened. You made a mistake. You did. When you wrote this, I pulled the folded printout from my coat pocket, unfolded it slowly. Reclassify the overage under deferred vendor. Just don't let it hit Q2. His face went blank. I read again. Angela will scrub the metadata. She owes us. You remember writing that. He shifted. Context matters. You wrote that. Not me. His jaw tightened. You went too far. No. You went too far years ago. I just stopped pretending not to notice. You've made this personal. You cornered me in a parking garage. That's personal. He stepped closer. You think they'll protect you. I don't need protection. You think they're going to take your side over mine. I don't need a side, Mark. I have evidence. He lowered his voice. You've always been talented. But talent doesn't grant immunity. No, I said. But your words, they grant accountability. His breath caught. You want to end me. No. I want you to face what you built. He exhaled sharply. You used to be smarter. No, I said. I used to be scared. He looked at me. Really looked. Then laughed, cold and low. You think quoting emails makes you powerful? No. But watching you try to rewrite them in real time does. Mark's eyes flashed. Do you have any idea what you've started? A reckoning? He leaned in. You're burning bridges. I brought the gasoline the day you made Sophie cry. He pulled back like I slapped him. You think this is noble. You think exposing us makes you clean. I never said I was clean. I said I was done. Mark's jaw worked, but no words came. You've already lost, Mark, I said softly. You just haven't opened your inbox yet. He turned, started walking away. I unlocked my car, got in, drove past him without a glance back. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The conference room was ice cold. White walls, glass doors, 2 bottles of untouched water on the table. Lisa Howard sat at the head, sharp jawline, tighter voice. Internal counsel's eyes never wandered. Eric smoothed his cufflinks. Mark leaned back like it was a performance review, not a reckoning. Lisa glanced at her watch. Let's begin. I folded my hands. Ready. Lisa didn't blink. For the record. This review concerns the submitted files alleging financial irregularities tied to vendor billing, spanning Q1 through Q3. All parties have received preliminary packets. Any questions? Silence. Good, she said. Ms. Hale, walk us through your documentation. I slid the binder forward. All entries are time-stamped, sourced, and traced back to internal servers. No external edits, no third-party interference. Mark's voice came slick. We've reviewed the claims. Most are interpretation, not misconduct. Lisa raised a brow. You'll have time for a response. Eric cleared his throat. Claire, do you believe this is the best use of the board's time? I didn't look at him. I believe fraud is always a good use of time. Lisa tapped her pen once. Let's stay on track. I turned a page. Item 12. Invoice ALT for 172. Signed off by Mr. Voss under his alias account. Cross-referenced with a vendor that doesn't exist. Eric smiled, restrained. That account was created for sandbox testing. Then why did it authorize a transfer? Mark shifted. This feels adversarial. Lisa didn't look up. That's not a defense. I continued. Page 26 outlines a sequence of redacted threads between Mr. Hastings and legal. Language suggests intentional misclassification of overages. Mark interjected. You're reaching. You wrote, make it clean enough to pass review. Lisa turned to him. Is that your language? Mark's jaw flexed. It's paraphrased. I slid the printout forward. Make it clean enough to pass review. Time stamped. March 8th, 11:42 a.m. He looked away. Lisa nodded. Understood. Sophie walked in, then quiet but upright. She took the seat beside me. Lisa's voice softened. Ms. Tran, thank you for joining us. Sophie nodded once. I was told I should hear this. Lisa looked at me. Does Ms. Tran's name appear in your documentation? Yes, I said. But not how they want it to. Mark scoffed. She tampered with audit records. No, I said. She flagged a discrepancy. You deleted the note. Lisa tilted her head. You're saying Ms. Tran acted appropriately. She acted with integrity. Eric leaned in. You're protecting her. No, I'm exposing you. Lisa turned to Sophie. Ms. Tran, did you alter or obscure any financial trail? Sophie's voice shook but held. No. I sent a query. I was told it was resolved. By who? Mark opened his mouth. Sophie beat him to it. By Mr. Hastings. He said not to stir mud we already dried. Lisa scribbled something. That's a direct quote. Yes. Eric's fingers tapped once against the table. Lisa looked at me. Is that in your file? Appendix C mail thread. System recovery. Extracted from backup. Mark sat back, silent now. Lisa looked at all of us. This review will proceed into phase 2. Findings will be presented to the board. Eric folded his hands. That's premature. Lisa looked at him. That's procedure. She stood. You're dismissed. In the hallway, Sophie exhaled like she hadn't breathed in days. You were steady, I said. Her lip trembled. I almost didn't come. But you did. They tried to scare me. They failed. She looked up at me. Why did you make it about me in there? Because they made you the target. I made you the proof. Sophie stepped closer, voice low. Do you think they'll go down for it? I think they already are. She looked back at the glass doors. They didn't blink. No, I said. But they're bleeding. My badge still worked. That surprised me. I stepped into the lobby and felt the pause the way heads turned, then quickly looked away. The firm had moved on, but not really. Just quieter. Sophie met me by the elevator. They sent the statement. Read it, I said. No names. Of course not. She lowered her voice. Mark's gone. Suspended indefinitely. Eric retired effective immediately. I nodded. They always choose the softest verbs. Sophie handed me a coffee. Your inbox is overflowing. Let it rot. She smiled. You really aren't coming back, are you? No. I cleared out my desk that afternoon. A box, a sweater, the mug with the chipped rim. Minna from HR appeared in the doorway. Claire, she said, carefully neutral. Minna, she stepped inside. Just wanted a word. Go ahead. We appreciate what you did. Quietly. Professionally, I repeated. We reviewed your file, your performance, your leadership through recent events. I watched. Her eyes avoid mine. She cleared her throat. We'd like to offer you the director of strategy role, effective immediately. No. She blinked. You didn't let me finish. I don't need to. Claire, I won't build anything on ash. She exhaled. Is there anything we can do to keep you? You already didn't. Minna hesitated. At least, consider it. I closed the box. I did. Outside, Sophie leaned on the hood of my car. Promotion? She asked. I nodded. You said no, before she finished the sentence. She grinned. I would have paid to see that. I opened the trunk. I'll miss you. You could stay. No, I said. You'll rise better without my shadow. Sophie hugged me tight, fierce. You made space. For all of us. I pulled back. Now it's yours to fill. At home, I sat on the floor beside the open window. My inbox chimed another email from someone I barely knew. Impressed by your courage. Let's connect soon. Delete. I stared at the blank wall, no plaque. No award, just quiet. My own. Finally. Asterisk. The rooftop lights buzzed faintly overhead. The sky was a bruised lavender, stretched wide and quiet. I leaned against the railing, watching the city breathe. Sophie stepped out behind me, arms wrapped tight around herself. I didn't think you'd come, I said. I almost didn't. She walked to my side. I thought I'd be relieved. You're Not. I feel like I've been holding my breath for weeks. You were? She looked at me. You're leaving. I nodded. Really leaving? Yes. She swallowed. It won't be the same. It's not supposed to be. Sophie blinked fast. You were the only one who saw me. From day one. You didn't need saving, Sophie. I needed permission. You never asked for it. Did you? I smiled. Never. She turned toward me. When they came after me, I felt so small. You weren't. I believed them. And then I watched you walk straight into the fire. I looked out across the skyline. I didn't have a choice. You did, she said softly. You just picked the one that cost something. She reached for me, arms around my waist, face pressed to my shoulder. Her body shook. I held her. You're crying, I said. Shut up. I didn't move. You're not crying, she whispered. No. Why? Because this is what finished feels like. She pulled back. Not happy. No. Just clean. Sophie wiped her cheeks. I hope I grow into what you are. You will, I said. But faster. She laughed through her tears. That sounds like something you'd say. I reached into my coat pocket. A small silver flash drive. You still have it. I held it out. Not for long. She stared at it. You're deleting it. Yes. But it could protect you. I don't need protection anymore. Sophie looked at the drive like it was alive. Want me to watch? No. Just needed to tell someone. She nodded, quiet. Goodbye, Claire. Not goodbye, I said. Just done? We hugged once more, tighter than before. I walked away before she could let go. That night, I slid the drive into the port. One folder. One click. Delete. Empty trash. Confirm. The screen went black. I didn't. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The office smelled like paper and burnt coffee. To desks, one cracked window, and a ficus that refused to die. Yasmin leaned back in her chair. You really used to work for Hastings. Unfortunately, she laughed. And now you're here. Upward spiral. She passed me a folder. Klein and Wesson. Anonymous tip came through this morning. Vendor funneling. Looks that way. They marked it as miscellaneous security services. No receipts. No approvals. I opened the file. 400,000 in for months. Creative bookkeeping, she said. You good with it? Yes. She paused. You sure? I looked at her. Why wouldn't I be? She shrugged. You're precise. But you never rush. I don't blink anymore. Yasmin smiled. We like that here. The conference room was borrowed. Glass walls. Second-hand chairs. A man in a navy blazer gestured at the spreadsheet. It's all internal. Nothing left the building. I flipped to page 3. Line. Item to 109. Vendor names misspelled. He frowned. So? Because that misspelling doesn't exist in your ERP system. It's manual. Deliberate. He shifted. You're accusing. I'm observing. We're cooperating fully. No. I said. Calm. You're cooperating visibly. His face stiffened. Do you have experience with this? I met his eyes. Enough. He looked at Yasmin. She always this. Direct. She's soft today. Yasmin said. Back at the office, I uploaded the file and marked the note. Preliminary flag. Recommend audit escalation. Yasmin brought over tea. You okay? I'm fine. You always say that. Because it's always true. She hesitated. Does it ever feel finished? what you left behind. No. Do you want it to? I shook my head. Some scars are earned. She sat on the edge of my desk. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I stayed standing. Yasmin grinned. You're not standing. No. You're walking in with purpose. There's a difference. I smiled. Then let's keep walking.